Hi friends, I have now made time to make a video for this homework assignment. The first problem that I have for you that has the fractions in it is problem 3. X divided by 2 plus 1/4 equals 7/4. I'm going to actually show you two different strategies. I'm going to use the clear the fraction strategy that I showed you guys in class last time. And then I'm going to use a common denominator strategy that some students like a little better. You can choose what strategy you want to be using on these. I'm not going to tell you what steps you have to use to be able to solve problems like this. I just need to be able to see enough written down to know what strategy you used so I can see and understand your reasoning. And then it needs to be the right answer. And we're going to figure out that we found the correct solution when we verify our answer. Okay, so clear the fractions. Find the lowest common denominator. And then multiply by that number, and then multiply everything by that number. So the lowest common denominator here between 2 and 4, if I've got halves and I've got 4s, the smallest, I could do, halves won't work for fourths, but fourths will work for halves. I could also use eighths. I could use sixteenths. I could use 24ths. I could use 32nds. I could use 80ths. But the bigger a number I use in my denominator, the smaller the pieces and the bigger the numbers. So I want to use the smallest denominator that will work for both of these fractions. Okay. So the lowest common denominator for these ones is going to be fourths. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 4/1. And I'm going to give myself keep my sides. Know what's on one side, what's on the other side. Okay. So 4/1 times x/2. And then 4/1 times 1/4. You can, if you want to, you can look and notice that 4 in the numerator and the 2 in the denominator reduces down to 4/2 is the same thing as 2/1. You could reduce it here if you wanted to. If you didn't notice how to reduce it, you would get to here, 4x. 4 times x, 1 times 2 is 2, which we can then, 4 divided by 2 is 2, which we can then reduce down to 2x. You get to the same place either way. And then 4/1 times 1/4. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. So that's plus 1. Yeah, so if I were to do this, if I were to do the reducing strategy, that would be 1. That would be 2. 2 times x is 2x. I'd get straight to this step. 4 and 4 is going to be 1/1. I get straight to this step. I get to skip. I get to skip that middle step if I do the reducing. You can choose which way you want to go. 7 times 4 is 28. 4 times 1 is 4. You could also, if you wanted to, if you noticed, 4 and 4, that's going to be 1. That's going to be 1. 7 times 1 is 7. 1 times 1 is 1. So I'm left here with 2x plus 1 equals 7. So what I'm going to do, the opposite or the inverse of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So that's addition, so I'm going to subtract. So that's the opposite. So I get 2x equals 6. This is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. X equals 3. Okay. That's the clearing fractions. It's called clearing fractions because in this step, there are no fractions. But it has the same solution as the original equation. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys, again, I went off the screen. I'm sorry. Okay. All right, common denominator strategy is very similar. For this one, I just find a common denominator. So my common denominator is going to be 4. These two already have 4 in the denominator, so I could, if I wanted to, multiply this first term by 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is just the value of that is 1, so I'm not really changing the value. I'm just changing the name of this term. 2 times x is 2x over 4 plus 1/4 equals 7/4. And then from here, it's pretty easy. I could, well, the opposite of adding a fourth is subtracting a fourth. I could subtract 1/4 from both sides. Remember, both sides of my equal sign. So I've got 2x over 4. And I know I can reduce that, but I'm not going to do that yet because the common denominator for my equation is fourths. 7/4 minus 1/4 is 6/4. From here, 2x divided by 4 equals 6 divided by 4. That means that 2x has to equal 6. Divide both sides by 2. X equals 3. You might also notice, I'll use purple for this. You might also notice once I get down to 4, 4, 4 in my denominator, I've got this 2x plus 1 equals 7, which is the same as this equation here. So I could say, and if it's all like 2x plus 2x divided by 4 plus 1 divided by 4, that's the same thing as 2x plus 1 together, and then divide that by 4. So 2x plus 1 together has to equal 7. So from here, you could just go straight to something like this. Yeah, you can choose. You can choose what makes sense to you. To verify, we got the same answer in both of those. To verify, I'm going to go back to my original equation, which was x over 2 plus 1/4 equals 7/4. I'm going to put in that number. 3 halves plus 1/4 equals 7/4. 3 halves is the same thing as 6/4 plus 1/4 really does equal 7/4. So I have verified that equation is correct. I hope that was helpful.